Hello and welcome to Training Tuesday, where we go through weekly tips and tricks to make your career just a little bit more awesome. This week we are talking about investing in yourself, and this is a very important topic as we head into the new year, which is surprisingly coming up very soon. Now, last week we talked all about some of the things you needed to do to get momentum at the end of the year, including taking small steps and accountability. Those same things are really crucial when it comes to making any sort of change in the new year. So if you want to get your finances in check, if you want to get your nutrition in check, whatever it is, the two elements that actually typically stop people from making the change, or when they're feeling stuck and they're like, I want to make this change and I don't know how, more often than not, the two things that are missing are either they don't have the process, the steps of how to get from point A to point B, or they don't have the accountability to actually stick to that process. So if either of those things are missing, what you will often need is some sort of external factor that you need to typically requires some sort of investment in time or money to make that change happen. What I mean is hiring a nutritionist, hiring someone who can come and help you with your finances, or a financial planner, or whatever it is, right? But normally it requires some sort of step on you to either offer time, money, something to an external resource to make sure those things get done and you make that change that you've been wanting to make and have been putting off. Now, investment of any of those things typically strikes some weird feelings in people, and that's what we're really diving into this week. Because if you want to make some sort of change and the process that you've been following of hoping and wishing hasn't been working so far, it's probably not going to start working anytime soon, right? If something hasn't been working and you keep following that behavior, you're probably going to get that same exact result as you've been getting. And so again, if you want to make that change, what you will often need is some sort of external accountability, like for careers, right? Career coach, someone coming in and saying, let's teach you the steps and let's have you have some sort of accountability to make that happen. When fears about investing in those things come up, I really wanted to teach you what's behind those, because sometimes you'll really want to make that change and yet you can't quite psych yourself up enough. I wanted to teach you what are the three things that are typically behind that and what you can do to solve for this. Because the three things are typically either one, you are not quite sure that the program or the offering or whatever the thing is that you're committing to is going to actually help you make that change. So if that's the case, you want to keep saying, okay, well, ask questions about it, see if that program would work for you, see if that offering would work for you. Two, you don't trust the person who's offering it, right? So if you were talking to a nutritionist and you're like, yeah, like in concept I buy it, and yet I don't know, it doesn't feel like a mutual fit, that typically signals that you want to do more chatting, because with coaching, with any sort of close relationship with someone who's helping you to accomplish goals, you want to make sure that you are 100% bought into them and it feels like a good mutual fit. And then the third reason that people typically feel fear or struggle to invest, even if they want to make that change so badly, but they're a little freaked out by it, the third reason and the biggest reason tends to be that you don't trust yourself to make it happen. And this one's a bit of a not so good feeling one. It's the kind of thing where you're like, oh man, do I really think that? But unfortunately, this is the case, and I say this having seen this in myself before too, right? Oftentimes when people are fearful of committing to something, it's because that they're scared that they're not going to hold up of their end of the bargain. Now, if any of those three things are coming up for you, I want you to tell me which one it is below that's coming up the most. If there's some sort of investment you're trying to make, is it the program, the person, or yourself, your concerns about yourself? And if any of those are coming up, I have a couple of tips for you. So if you're fearful to invest because of one, you're not sure about the program, keep looking. Keep checking out if there's any other program or anything else, right? Ask more questions about what that is, how it would help with your specific needs. Know what you need. Is it process? Is it accountability? But make sure you're digging in on how it's going to meet those things that you need. Two, if it's the person, keep looking. There are plenty of people to help with everything under the sea. That's why I have consults with all my new potential clients. I like to make sure it's a good mutual fit. If it's not, I will gladly send them to someone else who I think is going to be a better fit for them. You should always use that same type of discernment when it comes to finding someone to help you reach your goals. You want to make sure it's someone who you're like, I'm bought into you as a person. And then the third thing, if you're falling victim to that third one of not trusting yourself, and this is a doozy, so if so, it's okay. Know that other people have felt that way. But if that is the case, I want you to think about, one, have you Like, think about times that you have committed to doing something before, or when you've had a lot of skin in the game. Have you ever had that happen and you just get down in the fetal position and say, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, there's so much to do, I'm just not gonna do it? Or do you typically rise to the occasion, right? Think about past experiences that you've had if you have some sort of true investment, and make sure the skin in the game that you have is substantial enough to warrant that you actually make the change, right? Because you want to make sure that you actually have enough skin in the game to really be committed to making that change, okay? So if you are struggling with any one of those tricky things coming up in the back of your head about investing in your development, investing in bettering yourself in the new year, and making that change that you really want to make, dig into what's behind those reasons. Dig into if it's 1, 2, or 3 that's coming up for you, and actually respond accordingly. Okay, so if you need help with any of those, certainly reach out to me. Try those tips on for size, and in the meantime, happy working.